The third portion of that is provision. The Lord is providing for us through the month of Iyar. You know, in Exodus and Leviticus, it really goes into a lot of different places where the Father is providing water for the children of Israel. Water always represents or is a picture of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. And so as we see the picture of the Holy Spirit in water, let me take you to the scriptures so that I can begin to, in a clearer way, explain provision. And Exodus 15:22 is where we're going to start. It says, "Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days into the wilderness and found no water. When they came to Marah, they could not drink the water of Marah, for the water was bitter. Therefore it was named Marah," which means bitterness. "So the people grumbled at Moses, saying, 'What shall we drink?' Then he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. He threw it into the water, and the water became sweet. There he made for them a statute and regulation, and there he tested them." We've been talking a lot about testing during this season, but the end result, you know, of what we're seeing in the month of Iyar are these four things. And the third one is this provision, and the Lord is providing. After this scene, what happens immediately in Exodus 15, verse 27 is, "Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs of water and 70 date palms, and they were camped there beside the water." There again, God is providing provision. He's providing water. It was later during that same month of Iyar that the well of Miriam began to flow. Now this is kind of interesting because the well of Miriam, saying that it began to flow, the word flow in Hebrew is zuv, Z-U-V, zuv. And zuv is another word that was a title for the month of Iyar. Before Iyar, first it was called the second month, then it was called Ziv, and then it was called Zuv, which means to flow or to bubble over, to bring forth the flow. And then later on, after the Babylonian dispersion, when they came back, it was called Iyar. And so Zuv means to flow. And so that's where this word came from. Is the well of Miriam began to flow. Zuv, which is literally the month of Iyar, or the old title of the month of Iyar. Then in Exodus 17 and verse 6, Yahovah provides water from the rock, also in the month of Iyar. Think about that. Isn't that incredible? That provision is a theme of the month of Iyar. It's one of the four things that happened during the month of Iyar. In Exodus chapter 16, in verse 1, the Lord provides manna. It says this, Exodus 16:1, it says, "Then they set out from Elim, and all the congregation of the sons of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month," that's Iyar, "after their departure from Egypt, from the land of Egypt." God is providing manna on this day, on the 15th day in the second month, which is Iyar. Provision has its ties to the month of Iyar. But think about where a lot of us are. Some of us can't work. Some of us have been cut in our time of work. Some of us have been slowed down on, what we can do if you work for yourself. There's only so many things that we can have provided for us, all these different things. And so this month of Iyar is a month of provision. I don't know about you, but God has been providing miraculously for us. Even simple things like toilet paper. provision. You know, we were down to our last roll. And that last roll, and I know that, yeah, you want to hear me talk about this, but anyway, the last roll of toilet paper that we had was the generic brand toilet paper. Was the last thing that we could find to buy. And right when we were getting ready to run out, Jamie, a good friend of ours, somebody that goes to our church, she just, we went by her house, or no, she came by here. She dropped off a whole pack of toilet paper. When we were on that last roll, you know, things were, you know, getting a little, you know, anyway, provision. Let me get back to what I'm talking about. But provision, even down to toilet paper. Isn't that amazing? And here in Exodus 16:1, God provides manna, bread, revelation. God is providing even revelation. He's providing. The next thing that the Father provides in Exodus 16:8, He provides meat. In Exodus 16:8 is when they were grumbling against God. They said, now we have bread, but we don't have any meat to fill our bellies. In Exodus 16:8, God provides meat. He causes the quail to fall from heaven and provides meat for all of them. So there again, God is providing meat. The month of Iyar has everything to do with provision. Maybe that's why in the month of Iyar, Yahovah is revealing another one of His covenantal names. And that covenantal name in the month of Iyar, during that time that He was revealing, is the Lord will provide, or Yahovah Yireh, Jehovah Jireh. In Genesis 22 and verse 14, Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Yireh, Jehovah Jireh, as it is said in this day. In the mount of the Lord it will be provided. And it was talking about the offering that as Abraham was offering up Isaac, and he said, God will provide. Jehovah Yireh, Jehovah Jireh will provide. And God is proving that in Exodus 16. He's proving it to the children of Israel, and it is a revelation. It is a unveiling of Jehovah Jireh. He's bringing forth meat so that they can be provided for. And so the third thing that the month of Iyar brings is provision.